What harm can come of it? What do we have to hide?
Does it matter?
It's not generally the way that people answer when they don't have anything to hide. Hello, I am Joel Sharpton, one half of the Articulate Coven Podcast, and this is my watch of the original supernatural soap opera Dark Shadows from 1966. We are currently in episode 21 of Dark Shadows. It's Dark Shadows time. I'm excited to get into this one. This will be our final one for this week's batch. If you're watching these on YouTube, I will remind you that if you pay $2 a month or more on our Patreon, articulatecoven.com/join, you can get next week's batch. They're always there a week early on our Patreon, and that's true for all of our content. It goes up early and ad-free at articulatecoven.com/join. And thank you to our patrons for making all of this possible. All right, let's get into episode 21.
All I know is that it happened, and it might happen again.
I mean, I was started to make fun of Victoria for her overacting there, but if you look at it from her perspective, seems pretty likely that Burke Devlin tried to kill Roger Collins. And I mean, Carolyn's just another Collins, even though her last name's Stoddard. That's fair. It would be fair to be a little nervous, especially since Carolyn is so blind to this dude for whatever reason. I mean, I guess she thinks he's daddy. Ugh. Weak cold open on that one. Just a disagreement over the fact that Carolyn doesn't appreciate the gravity of the situation. To be fair, I guess this is like a Tuesday show. This is a midweek show.
I saw Burke Devlin there with a wrench in his hand. That's right. No, I didn't see him.
All right. That's a pretty dramatic deflation there, Carolyn. Good job.
I guess I'm just a lousy judge of character, that's all. Maybe.
Carolyn, I'm glad you said it. I appreciate the self-acknowledgement.
Carolyn, all I wanted to do was to come up here and do a job and maybe find out something. What about Burke? What happened? Well, you're on.
She's in the middle of trying to tell you something about herself, and you're just like, what about my homeboy?
Did Uncle Roger believe him? No. But that's why I stayed up half the night. You see, I did.
It is interesting that Victoria believes Burke. I mean, I don't know, maybe I wonder if she suspects David. She doesn't know that David has the part. Speaking of David, by the way, I got a great note from somebody earlier today on the YouTube feed saying that the actor who plays David stays for the whole run. He's even in the movie from like 1970. So awesome. He's a good kid actor. He's appropriately creepy. Boy, Burke's like, middle of the night you got me, first thing in the morning you got me. You people leave me alone.
Sounds ominous.
Yeah.
If that's what you call attempted murder.
You can't play surprised anymore, Burke. Like, they came in the middle of the night and told you tried to kill me.
It happens to be true.
God, again, I just want to say the chin on this man. Like, genuinely, Burke Devlin got one of the great chins of all time.
Right now, today, that family means nothing to me. They're just some people I used to know a long time ago, that's all.
Somebody that I used to know. Good job, Burke. Good job. He said the thing.
You ever hear of a man named Wilbur Strake?
I'm pretty sure that's his private eye. It's all in the report, Mr. Devlin.
My God, ever seen this witness?
She went up to her room. Is that for her?
Yes, from Dani.
All right. A different hairdo, and yet the ears also still covered for Elizabeth. I'm telling you, it's a whole thing. Oh, this is the letter from the headmistress or whatever of the foundling home, who was like, right after you left, there was this man named Strake, and he was asking me all these sorts of questions. Do you know who this is, and who might be interested in your past?
Vicky, if Burke is guilty, then so am I. But that's silly. I brought him up here, didn't I? I was the one who brought Burke Devlin to this house.
That's fair. You did let the wolf into the hen house, so to speak.
One of the attendants there played a very cruel trick on me. She told me that my parents were coming to take me home. But even then, I knew it wasn't true. But I believed her. For 2 weeks, I looked for them. I'm still looking.
That's hateful.
The disappointment was much greater. So don't let it happen to you.
Man, let's just say, Victoria, that was a harsh metaphor to share that story. That's up there on par with that monologue in the middle of Gremlins from Phoebe Cates about how her dad died at Christmas time. Oof.
That'll be fine. My brother will be back by then. Very good. Thank you for calling. Goodbye.
The constable or sheriff? I can't remember.
That was the constable.
Constable.
He's going to be here later this morning.
Is Bert going to be arrested?
Don't you think he should be? Somebody tampered with Uncle Roger's car. If Burke didn't do it, who did? Who else would want to see him dead or injured?
It was David. I wonder if there'll be a transition here.
You, me, David, Matthew? Or do you think it was Miss Winters?
One of these things is not like the other. One of these things does not belong.
Ridiculous, and you're trying to defend a man who's obviously responsible. Police? Why would we want to involve the police? It was merely an unfortunate accident.
And she told that man to call back tomorrow, and then she's like, I don't know why you'd want to talk to me.
That was just one phone call. There are going to be dozens of them. Dozens.
Even if you're right, what harm can come of it? What do we have to hide?
Does it matter?
It's not generally the way that people answer when they don't have anything to hide.
When you went to school and came home crying because the children made fun of you, Carolyn's mother is a witch. I haven't forgotten how you used to sob.
Hadn't bothered her enough to leave the house in 18 years, though.
I survived.
I hated myself for making you suffer.
Not enough to leave the house, though, and stop being the witch on the hill.
Carol, this is going to be worse. Burke will see to that.
Mrs. Stoddard, I think you ought to read this letter.
Somebody is definitely stirring shit, like, for real. Like, and it's, I mean, we know that it's Burke. The why of it is still a little mysterious. I mean, my assumption at this point is that he might have genuinely, Roger being he, Roger might have framed Burke for the murder of this pedestrian, 10 years ago.
Mrs. Stoddard, do you have any idea who would have hired this man to ask these questions about me?
No.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Mother thought Bert might try to dig up something about our past.
This has nothing to do with that.
Bill Malloy knows.
It sure sounds like it. Listen. He was anxious to learn the details of your securing your position. She means with us, of course. Why you were hired by the Collins family, who recommended you, and all the rest of it. Whatever that means.
I thought we'd finished with that matter.
Maybe you have, Mother, but someone else hasn't.
Yeah.
Don't you have any idea who might be this interested in you? I thought your mother might know. Do you think Burke Devlin hired this man?
I suppose it's possible.
I suppose it's possible. God, it must be juicy, whatever's going on with Victoria's backstory, because Elizabeth is desperate to keep that disconnected, even in the middle of this fight, in her opinion, for the life of her brother and whatnot, with Bert.
But why would he want to know about me?
I can't answer that. I don't know.
You think Devlin was responsible for the car accident, don't you?
Yes.
Well, then you must also think that the only reason he came back here was to harm your brother and you.
Yes.
Well, then, it's logical that the only reason he'd hire someone to make these inquiries would be if the results would be harmful to you. Doesn't that make sense?
Victoria's got a future in the legal field, apparently.
Are you asking me whether or not I'm trying to hide something about you and your past?
Yes. Yes, Elizabeth, she is. And you are.
Yes.
The answer is no.
But then why could
I'm
you go
sorry,
on?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do, though.
Face it, Vicky. You're not even sure Burke hired this Wilbur Straight.
Bill is, though.
Where did you learn about this man, Strake, Mr. Malone?
Yes, good transition.
You're a pretty smooth talker, Burke. Always were.
I'm telling you the truth. You can believe it or not. That's your choice.
I mean, my guess he had to be a pretty smooth talker, right? Like, what else? He was a poor kid in the before times. So, like, what else would Roger Collins have to do with him unless he was pretty smooth talking? That jaw, I mean.
Come up and see me again, Mr. Malloy.
Come up and see me sometime.
Look, Bronson, I want you to catch the first plane up to Bangor tonight. Yes. Bangor Airport. I want to get moving fast.
Burke, you're proving him right. All right, feels like a cliffhanger there, folks. Let's look at that. How none of the names are straight. I noticed one or two off before, but like all of those are wrong. Oh, that's real good stuff, man. Oh, that's good stuff. All right. Thank you so much for watching these videos. Thanks for everybody who's been feeding back and telling me that you're enjoying them, giving me like memories of watching these as a kid or watching these when they were on first even. So kudos to all of you for doing that. And that makes it a lot more fun for me to keep making these videos. If you are watching this on YouTube, I'll remind you that you can go straight to the next batch of episodes on our Patreon right now. They're always up a week early at articulatecoven.com/join. $2 or more a month. Get you access to everything we do early and ad-free. Thanks so much.